he's not a superhero. He is a devastation to this planet. His very existence is an extinction event. Every moment he takes a step, the atmosphere ignites, and he quite literally wipes everything out underneath him. Flash is a lie. At least if you're talking about real-world physics. This video is going to shatter your illusions about how the Scarlet Speedster really operates. We're diving deep into the scientific limits that even Barry Allen can't escape. We love the fantasy. We love the ultimate freedom. But what if the Flash didn't have the Speed Force? What if he was just a guy who could run really, really fast? The answer? He'd be the most terrifying force of nature on this planet. Let's start off easy. Barry runs faster than every single supersonic jet, as in, he breaks the sound barrier. But what does it really mean to break the sound barrier? And what are its side effects? The classic sonic boom occurs at 343 meters per second. Or this many miles per hour. But Barry rarely jogs that slow. Let's look at some hypersonic speeds. Mach 5, for example, around 17-15 meters per second. At that speed, he's running a mile every single second. But here's the problem with the movies. They treat this sonic boom as a one-time effect. But in real-life physics, he's the source of this sonic boom. Everywhere he runs after he breaks Mach 1, he's going to experience this sonic wave behind him. And at these hypersonic speeds, he's going to be rupturing eardrums for everyone on the sidewalk. The pressure changes so violently that facades would be ripping off buildings. He's no hero on patrol, he's a moving natural disaster. But honestly, Mach 5 is the least of our problems. Let's move to a classic Flash move, the run around the planet. I frame counted that last clip myself, and he circles the planet in just about 0.8 seconds. Let's pull out some kinematics here. We've got our distance, about 40,000 kilometers, time, 0.8 seconds, and our velocity, which is our distance over time, is around 50 million meters per second. He's moving at 17% of the speed of light, the absolute peak velocity of any object in vacuum. At this point, he's got an energy problem. Let's look at our kinetic energy formula. Kinetic energy is 1/2 mass times our velocity squared. Assuming the Flash weighs around 80 kilograms, and squaring the velocity we had of 50 million meters per second, that's about 100 quadrillion joules of energy. At that speed, to Barry, the atmosphere isn't a gas, it's a solid lattice of nitrogen and oxygen atoms. He isn't experiencing air resistance or fluid resistance anymore. He's experiencing nuclear collisions for every N2 and O2 molecule he hits. And in that 0.8 seconds it takes Barry to run around the planet, he's experiencing 20,000 tons of air molecules hitting him. He's not just pushing the air, he's fusing with it, stripping electrons, creating plasma and gamma rays. That's the radiation that comes off of nuclear bombs. His run is generating 24 megatons of pure destructive energy. To put that into perspective, the most powerful American bomb to date that we know of is Castle Bravo. Barry runs at an energy of almost double that, at 24 megatons of energy. Every second he's running, he has the same energy as the largest nuke that the United States is publicly telling people they have. With that much energy coming off of him, he's not a superhero. He is a devastation to this planet. His very existence is an extinction event. Every moment he takes a step, the atmosphere ignites, and he quite literally wipes everything out underneath him. Every second he runs at that speed, he's carrying the energy of a tactical nuke. Just by moving through the atmosphere, he would compress the air so violently it would undergo nuclear fusion. He's not saving the planet, he's incinerating it. And we haven't even talked about relativity yet and all that weirdness. Because at these speeds, length contraction and time dilation become his best and worst enemies. We've discussed that at 17% of the speed of light, Barry is a walking running nuclear bomb. But in the comics, Barry runs much, much faster than that. He reaches the limits of physics, and in some comics, he's said to be going the speed of light, or approaching c. This is where classical physics totally quits the chat, and quantum mechanics and Einstein show up in the room to make everything a little bit harder and scarier for everyone. Let's talk about the Lorentz factor. Everything in relativity is pretty much centered around this single variable. Think of it as a weirdness scale. At normal speeds, up to about 0.01 c, it's about 1. So nothing weird happens with everyday life and everyday interactions. But as we get closer and closer to the speed of light, things start to take a turn. Now, you might think this makes everything a little bit tougher for Barry, but in fact it might just be the reason he's able to do everything he does. That being length contraction. Every time he goes an inch faster and closer to the speed of light, the distance he travels shrinks just a little bit by that factor of that Lorentz factor. And as it does so, the distance he has to cover at that speed he's going reduces. So it makes sense that he travels as quickly as he does. He's not just running quickly, he's shortening the distance of the universe. To put that in perspective, if he's running at about 0.99 of the speed of light, gamma is about 22, and a 100-meter dash would suddenly only be 4.5 meters long. He isn't just crossing continents because he's that fast. He's crossing continents because the space in front of him is shrinking down. But there's a cost. If space shrinks, time must expand. That's time dilation. Time dilation, much like length contraction, occurs as gamma gets bigger. To us, he's just a blur, but to him, he's trapped in this frozen hellscape where no one else is moving as quickly as him. At these high speeds, his brain is processing information at the speed of light. But the world moves at a snail's pace. But the final nail in the coffin isn't speed, it's energy. For every 0.1% faster the Flash needs to go as he gets closer to the speed of light, the energy he needs to make that little jump becomes infinitely more. So to get to the speed of light, he needs more energy than exists in the entire observable universe. And that's why the Flash is a lie. That's also why we love the Flash. We love that it's a fantasy. But the comics do have an explanation for everything I talked about. The shattered windows, the broken glass, the solution, the speed force. The energy issues, the speed force. The nuclear reactions occurring on his skin for every molecule he hits at 50 million meters per second. You see that? It's the speed force. The solution is right there. The comics made the solution the entire way. And, well, we don't get into the relativity side of things. The comics can't explain that. Einstein stands true. If you like this video, please click over here to see why Clark Kent is a liar and a killer. But until then, please hit that subscribe button and enjoy physics.